The Master and the Giant. Los Angeles, 1972. Los Angeles Police Training Academy, California. Spring 1972. The air smells of sweat mixed with old leather and wood varnish. In the Academy's main gym where future officers learn tactical defense, the dull thud of punching bags and the shuffle of boots on blue mats echo through the room. Fluorescent lights flicker slightly over a group of cadets surrounding the central training area. But today they aren't here for routine arrest drills. They are here because someone challenged an uncomfortable truth. In the center of the circle, standing with arms crossed over a chest as wide as an oak door, is Captain Michael Torrance, commander of the LAPD SWAT unit. 6 feet 5 inches tall, 270 pounds of pure muscle forged through 12 years of service on the city's most dangerous streets. He has a neck like a tree trunk, hands like catcher's mitts, and a square jaw that has taken more hits than he can remember and remains intact. Torrance looks down, literally down, at a lean Asian man dressed in black pants and a sleeveless shirt, Bruce Lee. 135 pounds, 5 feet 7 inches, with arms like steel cables wrapped in bronze skin. Torrance's voice booms through the gym like distant thunder. With all due respect, Mr. Lee, here on the streets of Los Angeles, there's no time for fancy dances. When a 260-pound suspect charges you in a dark alley, there's no room for your movie kung fu. The street teaches more than any dojo. The silence that follows is thick and uncomfortable. Cadets exchange glances. Some nod, others look away. Bruce Lee doesn't flinch. His expression remains as serene as still water, but something flashes in his eyes. It isn't anger, it's absolute certainty. The challenge of the small. Pause right here and ask yourself something. Have you ever been told you were too small for something? Too young? Too different? Did you feel that burn in your chest when someone underestimated you based only on what they saw? Hold on to that feeling, because what happened in the next 13 seconds didn't just change the perspective of a battle-hardened SWAT captain. It changed the way 50 police cadets would view combat forever. If you want to know how a 135-pound man neutralized a 270-pound giant, a combat veteran and street fighter, without landing a single devastating blow, without breaking a single bone, using only pure physics and tactical intelligence, stay until the end. Subscribe right now, hit the bell icon, leave a like, and comment if you've ever proven that size isn't everything. This story isn't just about Bruce Lee. It's about everyone who was ever called too small to matter. Two worlds collide. The year is 1972. The United States is emerging from Vietnam. The streets of Los Angeles are simmering with racial tension. Police departments face criticism for brutality, and in the middle of it all, Bruce Lee, a Chinese immigrant who arrived in San Francisco with $100 in his pocket, is revolutionizing Hollywood with a TV series called The Green Hornet. But Bruce Lee isn't just an actor. He is a philosopher of combat and the founder of Jeet Kune Do, a system that rejects traditional styles and embraces pure efficiency. His philosophy can be summarized in a phrase he repeats constantly: absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, add what is specifically your own. The police academy invited him as a consultant to modernize self-defense techniques. Most officers train in basic boxing and grappling. Thick arms, heavy blows, force against force. It works against the average citizen, but Bruce sees the limitations. He sees men who depend so much on their physical advantage that they become predictable, slow, and vulnerable against trained opponents. The unmovable object. Captain Torrance represents everything Bruce Lee is trying to evolve. Torrance was born in South LA. He grew up in neighborhoods where survival depended on your willingness to hit first and ask questions later. He joined the force at 22 and spent 5 years on patrol before being selected for the elite SWAT unit. He has kicked down the doors of drug kingpins. He has subdued armed assailants with his bare hands. He has trained in boxing since he was 15. His hands are registered as lethal weapons. In his mind, combat is simple. You hit harder, you move faster than your opponent, you use your weight, and you dominate with pressure. There is no philosophy, no art, only results. And now this slender Asian man, this Hollywood actor who has never patrolled a real street, is standing in front of his class talking about flowing like water and redirecting energy. Torrance cannot stay silent. Mr. Lee, he says in a tone intended to be respectful but dripping with skepticism, my men aren't going to have time to feel a criminal's chi when they're getting their faces smashed in. They need techniques that work under extreme stress, techniques proven in real combat. The cadets tense up. They know this goes beyond training techniques. There is something deeper here. A confrontation between two worlds. Western strength against Eastern philosophy. Street experience against martial training. And beneath it all, the invisible but omnipresent poison of racial prejudice. The 13-second bet. Bruce Lee has felt it his whole life. The Hollywood studios offering him roles as servants and exotic villains, the producers telling him America isn't ready for an Asian hero, the stares on the street, the comments about his accent, and the automatic assumption that because he is Asian he must be weak, passive, and no real physical threat. Bruce steps forward. His voice is calm, but it carries an edge that cuts through Captain Torrens. I deeply respect your experience. I have heard stories of your bravery. I know you have faced situations most people cannot even imagine. Torrens nods, crossing his massive arms tighter over his chest. But let me ask you something, Bruce continues. How many times have you faced someone who truly knows how to use your size against you? Someone who turns your strength into your weakness, and your weight into your trap. Torrens smiles. It is not a friendly smile. Mr. Lee, I've fought men bigger than me. I've subdued criminals armed and high on adrenaline. I don't think I've found anyone who can use my size against me. The gym is so quiet you can hear the hum of the fluorescent lights. Bruce nods slowly. Then let me show you something. A simple exercise, nothing violent, just a demonstration of principles. He points to the center of the mat. I propose this, you try to touch me. Just one touch. Anywhere, shoulder, chest, arm. It doesn't matter. You only need to touch me once. I am not going to hit you. I am not going to hurt you. I am just going to move. And if I touch you first, or if after a reasonable amount of time you cannot touch me, perhaps we will consider that there is value in what I am teaching. Torrens looks around the gym. 50 pairs of eyes are on him. His reputation is on the line. He cannot refuse this without looking weak. How much time? He asks. Bruce smiles slightly. 13 seconds. Murmurs ripple through the group of cadets. 13 seconds. A strange number. Not 10, not 15. 13, specific, deliberate. Torrens lets out a short laugh. 13 seconds. Fine. But when I touch you, and it's going to be in less than 5, I want you to consider that perhaps Hollywood and the real streets are different worlds. Bruce simply nods and walks toward the center of the mat. He stands there, feet shoulder-width apart, hands relaxed at his sides. He doesn't adopt a dramatic fighting stance. He looks like a man waiting for a bus. Torrens approaches. Every step makes the mat vibrate, 123 kilograms of moving muscle. His shoulders are twice as wide as Bruce's. His arms have the circumference of Bruce's legs. A cadet in the circle whispers to another, "This is going to end badly for the Chinese guy." But then, something happens that will change everything. An older instructor raises his hand. Absolute silence. 3, 2, 1. Begin. Second one. Torrens moves forward. He doesn't run, he doesn't charge like a bull. He's smarter than that. He has trained enough to know that technique matters even with a size advantage. He takes 2 quick steps, hands up in a boxer stance, and extends his right arm toward Bruce's shoulder. Bruce isn't there. He slides laterally, not backward as Torrens expected, but at a 45 degrees angle. Like water flowing around a rock, his body moves without apparent effort. No jumps, no wasted movement, just a minimal weight adjustment. Second 2, Torrens pivots. He's fast for his size, surprisingly fast. He's trained footwork for years. He turns on his left foot and throws a sweeping left hook, attempting to catch Bruce's arm. Bruce simply rotates his torso. Torrens' hand passes inches from his chest. Fingers brush the air where Bruce was a fraction of a second ago. The cadets lean forward. This isn't going the way they expected. Second 3. Torrens increases the pressure. He takes 3 quick steps, closing the distance using his reach. He extends both arms now, trying to corner Bruce against the edge of the mat. Bruce takes a step forward, not backward, forward directly toward Torrens. But at the last microsecond when their bodies are about to collide, Bruce slides to the right. His shoulder passes under Torrens' extended arm, so close his shirt almost brushes the captain's uniform. It's like watching a silver fish slip through a fisherman's hands. Second 4. Torrens grunts with frustration. He spins with more speed, planting his foot hard enough to echo in the gym. He throws a wide right hand. Bruce ducks. Not much, barely 10 centimeters, just enough for Torrens' hand to pass over his head. As he ducks, he steps forward, closing the gap and placing himself right in the dead zone, where Torrens' long arms lose effectiveness. Torrens instinctively backs away. He can't strike effectively at this range, and that is his first tactical error. Second 5. Bruce advances again. Not aggressively, not attacking, just maintaining that uncomfortable distance where Torrens cannot use his reach. He's like a shadow stuck to your back. No matter how fast you turn, he's always there. Torrens tries to shove with his shoulder using his body mass. Bruce has already moved. The cadets start to murmur. Some say numbers aloud. 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Second 6. Torrens is breathing heavier now. He's not physically tired. He's mentally frustrated. He has tried 6 different movements. Each should have worked against a normal opponent. But Bruce Lee is not normal. He doesn't fight against Torrens' movements. He fights the intentions before they become movements. He reads every weight shift, every muscle tension, every microscopic indicator of what Torrens will do next. Torrens throws a quick left jab, not to hurt, just to touch. Bruce pivots on his back foot. The fist passes in front of his face with centimeters to spare. And now for the first time Bruce extends his hand. He doesn't strike. He only touches lightly. The back of his hand brushes Torrens' shoulder. It's a mere touch, but Torrens is so focused on his own attack that he doesn't even notice. Second 7. Torrens changes strategy. He decides to use his weight, crouching slightly, lowering his center of gravity, preparing for a tackle. If he can grab Bruce, he can use his 123 kilograms to immobilize him. He lunges forward. Bruce takes a step back, but he doesn't flee. He moves exactly the necessary distance, not a centimeter more. And as Torrens moves off balance due to his own momentum, Bruce simply takes a sidestep. Torrens stumbles just a bit, but in that moment his knees are misaligned. His weight is overcommit forward. A violent opponent could destroy his knees right now. Bruce doesn't, he just watches him. Second 8. The cadets are no longer murmuring. They are in absolute silence. They have seen something they cannot fully explain. They have seen their captain, a man who has taken down armed suspects, a veteran of 100 real confrontations, completely neutralized without a single punch thrown. Torrens is breathing hard now. He's not exhausted, but he is mentally unbalanced. Every instinct he has relied on for 12 years is failing him. He throws another attack, this time desperate. A fully extended right hand. Bruce moves inside again, so close they are almost chest to chest. But in this position, Torrens cannot strike. He cannot push effectively. His own mass becomes an obstacle. Second 9. Bruce places his open palm against Torrens' chest. He doesn't push. He just lets it rest there, feeling the accelerated heart rate, feeling the tension in every muscle. "Feel your breath, Captain," Bruce whispers. His voice is so calm it seems impossible given the context. "It's in your chest, not in your diaphragm. That's why you are unbalanced." Torrens tries to push forward using his weight. Bruce simply lowers his hand and takes a step back. Torrens' momentum carries him forward. He trips slightly. Second 10. It is now obvious to everyone. Torrens is not going to touch Bruce Lee. Not in 13 seconds, probably not in 30, maybe not in a whole minute. Torrens knows it too. You can see it in his eyes. Frustration giving way to something deeper, involuntary respect, awe. He throws one last attempt, fakes with his left and throws his right. Bruce reads the feint. He moves before the right hand even begins its trajectory. Second 11. Torrens lowers his hands, not in surrender, but in recognition that something fundamental has just been demonstrated. He has fought bigger men, stronger men, but never someone who makes size irrelevant. Bruce steps back, giving Torrens space. Second 12. The gym is suspended in that strange moment where reality has just shifted, but no one has fully processed how. 50 cadets watching, 50 internal worlds being reconfigured. Second 13. The instructor raises his hand. Time. No one moves, no one speaks. Then slowly Torrance extends his hand. It isn't a defeated gesture. It's a gesture of genuine respect. The kind of respect that only comes when someone teaches you something you didn't know you needed to learn. Bruce takes his hand, the grip is firm. "Captain Torrance," Bruce says, his voice now audible to the whole gym, "you have more real combat experience than I will ever have. You have protected lives, put your own at risk. That is real bravery. What I just showed doesn't invalidate your experience. It only adds another tool to your arsenal." Torrance nods. His jaw is still tight, but there is something different in his expression. "Mr. Lee," he says slowly, each word carefully chosen, "I've been wrong about something important. I thought size and strength were the primary variables in combat. You just showed me they are only factors in a much more complex equation." He turns to the cadets. "Listen up, everyone. What you just saw isn't magic, it's not movie tricks. It's applied science, it's physics. It's understanding that combat isn't just muscle against muscle. It's mind against mind, timing against force, intelligence against intimidation. Leave a like right now if you are learning something you've never considered about real combat." Bruce walks toward the center of the mat. The cadets move in, forming a tighter circle. Torrance remains standing by his side, now as a student rather than a skeptic. "Let me explain what just happened," Bruce says. "It wasn't luck, it wasn't superhuman speed. It was an understanding of fundamental principles that work regardless of size differences." He points to Torrance. "Captain Torrance is 123 kilograms. That is a huge advantage, but it is also a responsibility. Every kilo requires energy to move. It requires constant balance. And here is the critical point. The bigger you are, the more predictable you must be in certain aspects." He pauses to let that sink in. When the captain advanced, his center of gravity moved first. I had to watch for that, not his hands but his center. Because no matter how fast his hands are, they cannot move independently of his center of gravity. Basic physics. A cadet timidly raises his hand. "Mr. Lee, but isn't it true that in the street you don't have time to calculate centers of gravity?" Bruce smiles. "Excellent question. And you're right. In real combat there is no time to think. That's why we train principles until they become instinctive. The captain doesn't consciously think about every punch he throws. He has trained so much that his body reacts automatically. That is experience, that is valid. What I am offering is training different instincts. Instincts that work when brute force is not an option." He looks directly at Torrance. "Captain, you mentioned the street. You're right. The street is brutal, unpredictable. But let me ask you this. How many of your opponents in the street have been trained? How many truly understand how to use their size?" Torrance thinks before answering. "Honestly, most rely on pure strength. Some have street fighting experience. Few have formal training." "Exactly," Bruce says. "They operate based on intimidation and momentum. And against them, your strength and experience are more than enough. But imagine facing someone who has trained specifically to neutralize size advantages, someone who understands leverage, someone who can read movement." He turns back to the cadets. "This is what I want you to understand. I'm not saying size doesn't matter. It matters. A big, trained man will always have advantages. But size without technique is like having a powerful engine without steering. Lots of power, but if you can't apply it where you need it, it's useless." He walks to one side of the mat. During those 13 seconds, every movement Captain Torrance made was technically correct according to his training. Solid footwork, appropriate guards, good punching mechanics. Nothing he did was wrong. But he was operating with a set of assumptions that work in 95% of confrontations. He makes a dramatic pause. But there is a 5% where those assumptions become vulnerabilities, and that 5% is what we need to train. Torrance interjects now, his voice softer than before. "Cadetes, pay attention to this. I've trained in boxing for 15 years. I've won fights. I've subdued violent suspects. And I was just completely neutralized by a man 62 kilograms lighter than me. Not because I'm weak, not because my technique is bad, but because I never trained to face someone who operates outside my frame of reference." He rubs his jaw thoughtfully. "In those 13 seconds, I learned more about my limitations than in 100 hours at the gym." Bruce nods with approval. And that honesty, Captain, is what makes you a true warrior. Ego is the enemy of learning. You are willing to admit there are gaps in your knowledge. That is rare. It is valuable. He looks around the circle of cadets. Some Asian, some Latino, many white, all young, all looking at Bruce with a new perspective. Is there anything else here I need to address directly? Bruce says, his voice taking on a more serious tone. I know some of you look at me and see an Asian man. You see someone from a culture most Americans don't understand. Do you see stereotypes of laundries in Chinese restaurants? Passivity, submission? The polite Asian who doesn't cause trouble. The gym becomes uncomfortable. This is dangerous territory. And when Captain Torrance said the street teaches more, he wasn't being malicious. But beneath those words is an assumption. The assumption that because I am Asian, because I make movies, because I talk about philosophy, I must be less capable in real combat, less tough, less prepared for violence. No one moves. That assumption, Bruce continues, is what has followed me my whole life, in Hollywood, on the street, in gyms like this. People look at me and assume I am decorative, that I am for show, not for function. His voice hardens. And every time someone makes that assumption, I have to decide. Do I let it go, smile politely, and accept the label they put on me? Or do I demonstrate that their assumptions are the true weakness? He points to Torrance. Captain Torrance just learned something I have known my whole life. That real power doesn't come from physical intimidation. It comes from understanding. It comes from being willing to face your own limitations. And it comes from recognizing that the person you underestimate might be exactly the one who has the most to teach you. Torrance looks at Bruce for a long moment, then turns to the cadets. Listen to this carefully. I grew up on tough streets. I learned to fight because I had no choice, and I developed a survival mentality, that the strong dominate, that the big win, that intimidation works. He steps to the center of the mat. But Mr. Lee just showed me that this mentality has a blind spot, and that blind spot almost cost me in this demonstration. In a real situation, it could cost me my life. He pauses. And if I'm honest with myself, part of my skepticism wasn't just about techniques. It was about prejudices I didn't even know I had. About seeing someone Asian and automatically assuming certain things. About equating muscle with capability. This is brave territory. A police captain admitting bias in front of his cadets. That doesn't make me a bad person, he continues, but it makes me someone with work to do. And if you are going to be good officers, you need to understand this early. Assumptions kill, both the ones you make about suspects and the ones you make about allies. The cadets are completely absorbed. This stopped being just a lesson on combat techniques. It became something deeper. Bruce walks toward Torrance and places his hand on the captain's shoulder. Sir, what you just did requires more bravery than any technique I could teach. Recognizing our biases, admitting our limitations, that is real growth. He turns to the cadets again. And this is what I want everyone to understand. This demonstration was not about humiliating Captain Torrance. It was about showing that we all operate with assumptions, that we all have blind spots, and that the first step to overcoming them is recognizing they exist. He begins to walk slowly around the circle. When I was young in Hong Kong, I also had to learn this. I thought that because I had trained in Wing Chun since I was a child, because I had won fights, because I had technique, I was superior to street fighters without formal education. And then I lost a fight. I lost badly against a guy who had never taken a formal lesson in his life, but he had fought 100 real fights, and I had only trained. Several cadets nod. They know that feeling. That defeat taught me something crucial. That formal training and real experience are not opposites. They are complementary. You need both. Captain Torrance has real experience. I have formal training. Together, we can create something better than either of us separately. He returns to the center of the mat. Now let me break down exactly what I did during those 13 seconds, not to show off, but so you can train these principles yourselves. The cadets pull out notebooks. Some are recording every word in their minds. Principle 1, center of gravity. Every movement begins there. When the captain advanced, his center moved first, milliseconds before his hands moved. If you watch the center, you can predict the action before it happens. He demonstrates with slow movements. Principle 2, lines of force. The captain is strong, pushing forward. His pectoral and deltoid muscles are massive, but we all have weak lines. Laterally, his balance is less stable. So, I moved laterally, not backward where he has the reach advantage, but laterally where his mass becomes an obstacle. Several cadets jot down notes furiously. Principle 3, critical distance. There is a range where long arms are most effective. There is another range where they become ineffective. I stayed just outside his optimal range or just inside his dead zone, never in the middle where his reach advantage works. He demonstrates again using Torrens as a cooperative mannequin. Principle 4, economy of movement. Every extra centimeter you move is wasted energy, wasted time. I moved exactly what was necessary, no more, no less. The captain moved more, not because he was inefficient, but because his mass requires more movement to change direction. The cadets are fascinated. This isn't mystical advice. It's applied physics. Principle 5, timing over speed. I am not faster than Captain Torrens. In terms of pure speed of muscle contraction, he is likely fast. But I moved earlier because I read his intention. I saw the microshift in weight that precedes every movement, so I began my response while he was still committing to his action. He pauses to let that settle. These 5 principles work regardless of size differences. They work against bigger opponents, against stronger opponents. They work because they are physics. They aren't magical martial arts. They are the science of human movement. Torrens interjects now, clearly thinking aloud. Mr. Lee, what you're describing is basically what we do in unit tactics. When we enter a building, we don't rely on brute force. We use angles, cover, timing, coordinated movement. It's the same philosophy. Bruce smiles widely. Exactly, Captain. You've just grasped the core point. Personal combat is no different from team tactics. The principles are universal. Positional advantage, economy of resources, coordinated timing. You are already using these concepts in your work. You just need to apply them at an individual level as well. The energy in the gym has shifted completely. The initial tension has transformed into genuine curiosity and mutual respect. A young Latino cadet raises his hand. Mr. Lee, I'm Rodriguez. I'm 1.63 m. In the academy, everyone jokes that I'm too small to be a cop. After seeing this, is there hope for guys like me? Bruce walks directly toward him. Cadet Rodriguez, listen to me carefully. Your size is not a disadvantage. It is a neutral characteristic. It's up to you to turn it into an advantage or a disadvantage based on how you train. He places his hand on the cadet's shoulder. I have spent my whole life being the smallest person in any room. 172 centimeters, 61 kilograms. By Western standards, I am physically insignificant. But I have turned that supposed defect into my greatest strength because I could never rely on intimidation. I had to learn real technique. The 13-second lesson: power, control, and mastery. I had to be smarter, more precise, more efficient. Rodriguez nods, clearly moved. Big men like Captain Torrens can afford small mistakes. Their mass protects them. But we don't have that luxury. So we become better, more refined, more technical, and eventually that precision overcomes brute advantage. Torrens adds his perspective. Rodriguez, I've seen small officers who are more effective than the big ones. They know they can't dominate with strength, so they train harder, learn more techniques, and when the moment comes, they surprise everyone, including me apparently. He laughs, and the remaining tension dissolves. Subscribe to the channel if you are learning that size does not define your true capabilities. Beyond the dojo, the philosophy of control. Bruce walks back to the center. His energy is different now, more fatherly, as if sharing secrets that could change lives. There is something else I need to tell you, something that goes beyond combat techniques. Everyone leans forward. Captain Torrens said something at the beginning. He said the street teaches more than the dojo, and in a sense, he's right. Real experience always beats pure theory. But there is something the street cannot teach you. He makes eye contact with each cadet one by one. The street teaches you to survive, it teaches you toughness, it teaches you that violence is real and brutal. Those are valuable lessons, essential even for police officers. He walks slowly. But the dojo teaches you something the street never can control. It teaches you that having power doesn't mean you must use it. It teaches you that real victory isn't destroying your opponent. It's neutralizing them without causing unnecessary harm. He points to Torrens. During those 13 seconds, I could have hurt Captain Torrens in at least 6 different moments. His knees were exposed, his neck was open, his balance was compromised. A well-placed strike could have seriously injured him. The cadets are completely silent. But I didn't. Not because I was weak, but because it wasn't necessary. True mastery isn't knowing how to hurt. It's knowing when not to. It's having absolute power and choosing restraint. The moral choice of an officer. His voice becomes deeper, more philosophical. You are going to be police officers. You are going to have power over citizens. You will face situations where you could use extreme force and be legally justified. But the question isn't what you can do legally. It's what you should do morally. Torrens listens intently now. This touches the heart of what it means to be an officer in 1972, a time of national criticism regarding police brutality. Every confrontation has multiple possible resolutions. Bruce continues. The easiest is maximum force. You dominate, you subdue, you end the threat. Sometimes that is necessary. Sometimes there is no other choice. He pauses significantly. But most of the time there are other options. Options that require more skill, more patience, more control. Those options are what separate good officers from great ones. A senior cadet, likely near 30, raises his hand. Mr. Lee, with respect, on the streets there isn't always time for philosophy. When someone is attacking you with a knife, you have to react. Bruce nods completely. Correct. And that is why we train. We train so that control becomes instinctive. We train so much that, under extreme pressure, we can still make correct choices instead of just automatic reactions. He looks at the cadet directly. The goal of training isn't to give you techniques for calm situations. It's to give you techniques that work under extreme stress. Techniques that allow you to control situations without escalating them unnecessarily. Torrens interrupts. Cadets, pay attention to this. I've been in situations where I used more force than necessary because I had no other trained option. It wasn't brutality, it was limitation. And every time that happened, I promised myself to train better, to learn more options. He turns toward Bruce with genuine respect. What Mr. Lee is describing isn't weakness. It's the highest level of strength. Having power and choosing not to use it, that is true control. Bruce smiles. Captain, you've just perfectly articulated what I've tried to teach for years. Strength without control is destruction. Control without strength is impotence. But strength and control together, that is mastery. Turning prejudice into opportunity. Bruce walks toward the cadets again. And now I want to talk to you about something personal. About why this demonstration matters beyond combat techniques. The atmosphere shifts, becoming more intimate. I came to the United States from Hong Kong with a dream. I wanted to show that martial arts weren't just acrobatics for movies, but a science of movement, applied philosophy, and tools for self-development. His voice carries the weight of experience. But every door I knocked on was closed. Hollywood told me America wasn't ready for an Asian hero. Martial arts schools told me I shouldn't teach non-Asians. Society told me I should know my place. Be the polite servant, the exotic villain. Never the leader, never the hero. The cadets listen without interruption. Many times I wanted to give up, to accept those limitations, take the small roles and settle for being marginal. He pauses emotionally. But then I remembered something my master told me. He said, Bruce, the bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that breaks. Flexibility is strength. Adaptation is survival. He looks around the circle. And I realized that my challenge wasn't to fight the system with anger. It was to adapt, learn, and improve until I was undeniable. Until my skill spoke louder than any prejudice. He points to the space between him and Torrens. Today, Captain Torrens arrived with skepticism. It was mixed with assumptions about who I am based on how I look. I don't blame him. It's human nature. Torrens nods, not with shame but with honest recognition. But instead of getting angry, I saw it as an opportunity. An opportunity to demonstrate, to teach, and to build a bridge instead of a wall. His voice grows stronger. And that is the most important lesson I can give you today. When you encounter prejudice, when you are underestimated, when you find barriers based on who you are instead of what you can do, you have 2 options. Option 1, you can give up. Accept the limitations others place on you and live inside the boxes they built. Option 2, You can become undeniable. You can improve so much, perfect your art so thoroughly, that your ability speaks louder than their prejudices. The legacy of 13 seconds. The cadets are clearly moved. Some, especially the minorities, have tears in their eyes. For you cadets, especially those of you who are Asian, Latino, Black, women, or anyone considered different, this is crucial. You are going to face barriers. You will find people who assume you can't, that you're too small, too weak, or too different. His voice echoes in the gym. When that happens, remember these 13 seconds. Remember that size is only one factor, that assumptions are just opinions, and that your value is not determined by what others think. It is determined by what you can do. Comment: size does not define my capacity. If this message resonates with you. Torrance stands beside Bruce. It is a powerful image. The 123 kilograms, 271 pounds, Caucasian giant and the 61 kilograms, 134 pounds, lean Asian man standing shoulder to shoulder. No longer adversaries, now allies, Torrance says. I'm going to be honest with you in a way I probably shouldn't as your commander. The cadets tense up. I've made mistakes in my career. I've misjudged situations. I've used more force than necessary. And yes, I've had prejudices I didn't recognize until today. His voice cracks slightly. But here's the thing about mistakes. They don't define you unless you refuse to learn from them. Today, a man I underestimated taught me more about combat, character, and humility than any other training I've ever received. He looks at Bruce. And if I, with 12 years on the streets, all my medals and scars, can still learn, still grow, and still admit I was wrong, then none of you has an excuse to stop learning. He extends his hand to Bruce. This time it's not just a handshake but an embrace. Final exercises imparting wisdom. Bruce offers to train with each cadet individually so they can feel the principles in their own bodies. He starts with Rodriguez. You try to push me. Use all your strength, Bruce says. Rodriguez pushes with everything he has, but Bruce doesn't move. I'm redirecting your force through my legs into the ground. You are pushing against the earth, not me. Next, he asks Rodriguez to push him laterally. Bruce turns slightly, and Rodriguez's own momentum carries him forward off balance. You don't need to be stronger. You just need to understand the direction of force. After 45 minutes of training, Bruce gives them an assignment. For the next 2 weeks, observe confrontations. Don't participate, just watch. Look at bar fights, arrests, aggressive interactions. Ask yourselves, where is the center of gravity? Where are the weak lines? How could this be resolved with less force? He turns to the cadets one last time before leaving. I do this because I believe that combat, when taught correctly, is not about violence, it's about peace. The most dangerous men I've met are not trained fighters. They are the insecure ones with something to prove. But when you truly know you can control any situation, you don't need to prove anything. You can choose peace. A cadet asks one last question. Why 13 seconds? Why that specific number? Bruce smiles mysteriously. 13 is a number of transformation in Chinese martial arts. It represents the moment where the impossible becomes possible, and new understanding is born. But honestly, I also chose 13 because I knew it would be enough. Based on watching Captain Torrance move, I knew exactly how much time I'd need to make my point without humiliating him. This wasn't just combat. It was teaching. Epilogue. Bruce Lee and Mike Torrance shook hands, now Bruce and Mike. 3 months later, Captain Torrance began formal Jeet Kune Do training. He eventually became a certified instructor, teaching SWAT units nationwide. Cadet Rodriguez became a homicide detective. Throughout his career, he used the techniques Bruce taught that day to resolve confrontations without violence, saving the lives of both victims and suspects. Whenever anyone asked how such a small man could be so effective, he told them the story of the 13 seconds. It isn't about how much you weigh. It's about how well you apply what you have.